Are you okay? I don't know what happened. I thought I'd lost you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I left the World War I sequence. I had to run a little bit. And now we can finally start the dreadful crimes. It's about time. And I was also thinking about Jack the Ripper and I was like, I feel like I'm not sure when will I start um the Jack the Ripper DLC. But well. Because it feels like I'm just doing these random quests, random missions, random activities, and well, this is part 16. I am starting the dreadful crimes. It's not a DLC. I suppose it's some kind of another mission pack, but it's not bad. This is young Arthur Conan Doyle, apparently. I was thinking about Jacob. Maybe I should play as Jacob, but then I was like, because it feels like I prefer to play as Evie because of her more of a silent approach. Even though I quite often I end up in a brawl by just killing people openly, which is sad. But I suppose it feels more authentic to play, analytical missions, investigation missions as Evie, because it kind of follows it fits her character, and that's what we see in Jack the Ripper DLC, where it's Evie who's investigating Jacob's disappearance. Evie is more about, thinking, planning, and stuff. Jacob is more of a reckless guy, so kind of feels more logical to do that as Evie. Cargo escort? I didn't even know such mission existed.
Oh dear. This is going very badly, isn't it?
It certainly doesn't have the makings of a ripping good novel.
What happened here?
Ah, the charming and delightful Fry twins.
Have we met?
Mr. Raymond knows everyone. He knows everything about this city. He writes it all up in his books.
I'm Henry Raymond, writer of third-rate, lurid stories. Penny dreadfuls, if you will. And this is little Artie.
Mr. Raymond takes real murders and makes them so awfully exciting. The guilty always get caught.
There's one unfolding just here. Perhaps one of you would like to try your hand in solving it.
Tutorial. Press F1 to enter the progression log. Accuse the guilty suspect to solve the case and collect your reward. Be careful though, as every false accusation will reduce the reward. I don't really think that the reward is really like they can give us anything except for money probably, but we don't really need any money. So I mean, yeah, I can improve things, I can improve my gang and stuff, but you know, I'm more interested in finding the correct person rather than having a reward. The game is finished. Maybe.
You find crime so delightfully entertaining, don't you? I mean, solving crimes, of course. Finding a solution is exhilarating.
Maybe ideally you need to make these missions during your main story. And this is what I usually do, but to be completely honest, in Assassin's Creed Syndicate you don't really feel any difference. If in The Witcher 3, for example, or I don't know, in Assassin's Creed Origins or Odyssey, you feel like you need to make those side missions because they will help you, they will help your character to progress, to get levels, to get some, I don't know, important money or maybe skill points or something like that. In Assassin's Creed Syndicate that's not the case. In The Witcher 3, for example, you need to find places of power in order to get additional skill points because you just don't have enough of them, so you really need to find them. The same goes for Assassin's Creed Odyssey and Origins, but in Assassin's Creed Syndicate it's kinda
I arrived to find the foreman dead, and the lad Dooley with bloody hands. No one's been able to find the murder weapon and arrest the murderer. Could you sort it out quickly? It's holding up the work. They're a rough bunch, but someone has to keep the kids in line. I just wish the grown-ups would quit fighting each other.
Mr. Frimp's owner of the factory. I think this is one of the best things that they introduced in Assassin's Creed Syndicate. This kind of, I don't know, lines, bullets, path, random descriptions, but in a kind of 3D way. They float in the air. That's pretty good. That's not something that we see, for example, in The Witcher 3. We don't have it.
He knocks me to the ground and give me a kick. I find me work knife under me and grab it. I lift my hands to protect myself, and he knocks me out with a punch. Later on, I wakes up, and the man's lying there, dead. He's my brother. He don't like to work hard, so one of the workers give him a thrashing. I tried to stop it, and he stops hitting Buck and starts hitting me.
When I come back, the man's lying dead, and there's Dooley holding a knife. Please don't arrest him. I was standing there, having a think, when a fella come at me and give me a thumping. Dooley tries to stop him, and he thrashes Dooley. I run out to find help.
A deep stab wound to the chest. I think this is an important piece of information. I don't want to accuse this child, but it can be him because the wound would be in the back. So if it's in the chest, then it's an important clue. Small knife with the initial D.
I believe I should re-interrogate a suspect.
It has come to our attention that one of your workmen, a certain Mr. Colton, has been beating the child laborers. Our society finds this to be a matter of concern, as do you, no doubt. Please take action to curtail the practice. Miss Clara O'Day.
That's Dooley's knife, all right. He never lent it to nobody.
That's actually a good question. Can a child kill him? I think it's him who killed him. Who is this guy? Who can speak with him, at least right now? And I don't see any other clues. The problem is that it feels weird. I mean, maybe it was his brother who protected him? Because I really don't see the owner of the factory just taking a knife and just killing him. That would be weird. But the wound is in the chest.
I arrived to find the foreman dead, and the lad Dooley with bloody hands. No one's been able to find the murder weapon and arrest the murderer. Could you sort it out quickly? It's holding up the work.
And well, owner of the factory. I don't know. Let's try to accuse his brother.
I was too scared to do anything.
Ooh, potential reward. Oh man. Hit or miss. I missed 3 times, right? Imagine if it's not him. What a mess. We didn't have enough clues, that's the problem. We didn't have enough information. At least it feels like. It might be the owner of the factory, but I'm not entirely sure.
Me? No!
No, not so quickly. You have indeed solved this murder, according to the facts at hand. However, Artie, what advice would you give?
I would encourage you to look beyond the obvious, beyond surface appearances.
Try again. Use your powers to peer more deeply and see what you can discover.
Yeah, you see? This is what we missed. And we needed to accuse someone to actually have other clues unlocked. The imprint of a large worker's boot.
You can always check
Medium-sized.
your case file to refresh your memory.
And coal.
Wilkins wasn't the type to beat the children. On the contrary, he was forever getting in fights, trying to stop that sort of thing. The fumes can be a bit much in the brewery. When the men work in there, they wear bandanas.
Me and Wilkins was working out here. We heard screaming. Wilkins went to see what it was about and never come back. I went to see for myself, and there he was, dead. I didn't stick around. Somebody might think I'd done it. The strange thing is, Wilkins weren't wearing no bandana when I was talking to him. Only the workmen in the brewery wear bandanas. You should talk to Morris there.
Now this is getting interesting. You see? This is why I told you that guy. Who is that guy and why is he staying there?
How would the murderer have done it?
Well now, I didn't ask about this.
Look for more clues.
Well, I was inside the brewery all day. I wear me bandana in there. Man has to, what with all the smells and fumes. I don't much know who smokes here. Maybe Taylor? Cigarette might be his.
I quit smoking months ago. You know, I saw somebody from the brewery having a smoke this morning. Didn't see who it was, though.
They're just pointing at each other. It's funny.
Well, like I said, I was inside. Didn't get a chance to come out to smoke. Colton left, though. You could talk to him. He's working in the loading area just now.
I should return and find out about this.
Look for more clues.
I was having a chat with one of the others when I heard a commotion and ran in there to find Wilkins dead. Poor bloke, killed by that filthy little bastard that we feed and pay. I don't smoke, never did. Oh, very well, so I do smoke now and then. What's it matter? I should be foreman here. Wilkins coddled the boys like a mother hen. He come along and stops me giving the boys a beating.
That was much more difficult than it initially appeared. Well done.
Up to the click with you.
An altercation, a simple matter of murder. That's interesting. An altercation between a boy and a workman ends in death for the workman. The boy remembers lifting a knife, but not the actual killing. Did he do it? No. In fact, the dead worker, one John Wilkins, heard screams and ran to offer assistance. Once there, he found the boy unconscious and another workman, Tom Colton, standing unharmed. But Colton, long angry with Wilkins, thought fast and stabbed the man with the boy's knife. He then put his own bandana over Wilkins' face. Quick thinking, however, did not win out. Colton has been unmasked as the murderer. Henry Raymond. You see, they only give us money. Not particularly interesting. I mean, it's great. I'll improve something, probably. But it's only money. I think I'd be more motivated by to solve this kind of crimes correctly. I'm already trying that, but if they gave us some kind of, you know, maybe concept arts or some hidden music themes, or just, you know, something that is maybe locked and that you can unlock by doing doing these quests or something like that. Because it feels like the only currency that we have is money, and it feels a little bit weird. Everything is related to money. I have a lot of money, look at that. It's sad. It's sad that we have all these improvements are important, you see. You'll see more explosives, you'll see more hanging barrels. All these things are amazing. It's great to have them, to see them more in London, so you can interact with the environment. The problem is that we don't have enough money and resources in the very beginning of the game, so we either need to spend, I don't know how much time on grinding or all the side missions, or we can just wait till the end of the game, but in the end of the game it's kind of pointless. I'm just improving for the sake of improving. Guess I got money and I don't know what to do with all that money. I should have probably made all the side quests, the dreadful crimes, the World War I sequence, Darwin and Dickens conspiracy, the last Maharaja, and all other side missions, Queen Victoria missions, when I was, I don't know, level 5, 6 or something. But you see, you need so much money, 20k for the last improvement, it's just... It's just too much. Too much. Death stalks the colonel.
There you are. This could be interesting. There's no shortage of firearms in this neighborhood.
I suspect the solution will turn on geometry, timing, and human nature.
There may be a penny dreadful in it. Look into it, won't you?
I remember this one. It's funny. Louis Prescott, killed by a single bullet that entered his chest, passed directly through his heart and exited from his back. Spread in a way that indicates the direction of the bullet. So if the blood is here, the bullet came from that way, somewhere. Logically, right? Shanty campaign.
Well now, I didn't ask about this.
Feather.
I should return and find out about this.
Bullet lodged exactly below the numeral 12. The clock is still running.
I believe I should reinterrogate a suspect.
See? Directions. This is pretty interesting. I like how they made it in Assassin's Creed Syndicate. It's probably it's not a big thing. It's not it's not something crazy. And we see it only in Assassin's Creed Syndicate. But this investigation thing with this kind of bullet trails and different things, I like it. I really do. I think it's a great idea. And this floating messages, see which one hit victim. Not bad.
He was a good man, very honourable. I'm proud to have served under Colonel Prescott in the 11th Foot Gold Coast, Africa. Prescott put that up in memory of the time he led a sortie across the Pra River to outflank Ashanti warriors. Things turned out badly that day. Horrific. We lost several of our comrades. Prescott wanted us to remember them. I was on my way here. Heard 2 shots I did, right at the stroke of noon. Bullet hole in the clock. Huh, that's a new one. It could have already been there when I arrived at noon. Or maybe it was the second shot I heard.
Empty munitions.
From what I can gather, Prescott was shot almost exactly at 12 o'clock noon. When Colonel Prescott retired from the army, he used his connections and started this munitions factory. He wanted the men that served with him to have work when they left the army. The young lads across the street were fooling with a pistol they'd found. A bullet must have gone astray through the wooden fence. Hit Mr. Prescott smack in the chest. Bloody unlucky for all concerned. Apparently they put the clock there while doing some repairs. It still runs, I notice.
Large pile of beer. Well, I'll go there after, maybe. Indicates that the bullet exited the courtyard. What bothers me is the fact that Evie is not making any comments, or Jacob. I'm not sure why they didn't make voice actors voice some lines or something, some additional lines. It really feels weird when, like, you investigate. Or maybe it feels weird after playing The Witcher 3, because when you investigate something in The Witcher 3, Geralt actually makes comments. This is why this investigation, even though I like all these little details, it feels less natural because Evie's just doing it silently, which is weird. Courtyard. Courtyard mark. The place the children stood when firing at the target.
We stood right there on a mark and shot the target. I went to shoot, but there was a loud bang. I was surprised and missed the target completely. It wasn't me who killed the man. I'm no murderer. We found a revolver underneath the lumberyard window. Don't know where it came from.
Here's a small heavy object may have fallen here, perhaps a revolver.
Him and me like to insult each other. I was a lieutenant under his command in Africa. I love the army. No one questions you when you wear a uniform. Anyways, every morning when he arrived, we'd call out and joke with each other. Yeah. Well, Prescott led a flanking sortie that went wrong. Lots of casualties. Some men called the colonel a coward, but it were really just bad luck. Anyway, he resigned. To make amends, he offered work at his factory whenever one of us left the army.
You see, this is what I was talking in the previous part. He said lieutenant, yet the right lieutenant, like with this French way to write things. I suppose in French it should be pronounced lieutenant, something like that. I'm not sure. But the problem is that they say lieutenant. Why are you writing lieu? Lieu in French means place or something. So why are you writing this word and pronouncing it completely differently? Why don't you write lieutenant? Left like left. I don't know, that's weird. Is there anything on the roof? No, it doesn't seem like. Well, I need to visit the brewery, right? Brewery. This way, puddle. So I need to follow. The first sniper rifle is an astonishing accuracy.
I should return and find out about this.
The door is closed, obviously.
I admit it. I sell stolen rifles and pistols. All very hush-hush. Black market. I brought that gun back from Africa. I was a sniper fighting the Ashanti. I used that gun this morning for Prescott's challenge. It's the only Whitworth we have. I'd never sell it. I made that shot. Early this morning, Prescott challenged me to plug the 12 from my shot. I missed just slow. No one witnessed it. It was too early in the morning.
Okay, let's follow the trail, just in case maybe we'll find something else. I'm not sure though, I feel like I want to accuse that guy, but I might be wrong. Nice.
Saw him each morning as I drove by. Seemed like a good sort. We lost an entire barrel of beer, damn it. I heard 2 loud bangs, but thought nothing of it. Later, I found a bullet hole in a barrel. Imagine that, a bullet hole. My lad Samuel might know more. He's around back, tossing trash in the river. The poor lad. Fell on my doorstep a few years ago. He's in a bad way, has some sort of malady. Rides in the back while I make deliveries. Hard worker, very determined.
White goose. A feather that we found there. It feels like a revenge kill. Throwing a feather over there. Something's wrong with this thing.
I believe I should reinterrogate a suspect.
I want to hear about this guy, about Samuel.
Saw him each morning as I drove by. Seemed like a good sort. The poor lad. Fell on my doorstep a few years ago. He's in a bad way, has some sort of malady. Rides in the back while I make deliveries. Hard worker, very determined.
That's for some sickness I picked up a while ago. Can't remember the name of it. There was an hole in a barrel. I've got no explanation for that. I just drop off beer. Don't pay much attention to people along the way.
Well, the trail with the beer leads us here. Prescott got some kind of a disease in Africa. And that was weird. And it seems like it might be him. Whatever, let's try a wild guess. Let's accuse him. Maybe it's not him.
His goddamn cowardice in Africa got me best friends killed. He should have faced a firing squad.
Lucky
Very good
us.
sleuthing on your part. It's a miracle anyone survived, what with all those bullets whizzing about.
Up to the clink with you.
For some reason it feels like the stories are real stories, just like those letters that we saw in the World War I sequence. Maybe some criminal cases from newspapers from 18th century or 19th century or something. Just Stalks the colonel. An army sharpshooter watches his friend die in a bungled military maneuver and vows revenge. Slowed by a tropical disease contracted on the Gold Coast, Private Samuel Fry spent years planning his vengeance on Louis Prescott, a colonel whose cowardice meant death for his companions. He taunted Prescott with the symbolic white feather, and then, at the stroke of noon, took his final revenge. Many bullets flew that day. A bullet from the shop attic lodged in Prescott's factory clock, a bullet from the revolver found by some children lodged in a passing beer cart, and the bullet fired by Samuel from the back of that cart struck Prescott directly in the heart. Henry Raymond. Who's Henry Raymond? I mean, he didn't get rid of that goose that was lying over there, so I suppose that was a very good evidence against him. I think that I keep thinking about this side missions, and I really think that it's better to make these missions during Assassin's Creed Syndicate, though it doesn't feel like there's a huge difference. It's not like you notice it. And maybe it makes your sequences less boring? I don't know. I can't really say that they were boring, but having additional... That's weird. I marked the thing. I didn't want to place it. The mark on it. Well, it makes maybe your sequences less dull. I can't say that I regret not doing them before, and then it doesn't change much, but I feel like it you just need to find the perfect time to do them, simply because as you can see, some of these quests, they are for maybe level 5 or something like that. So I'm not sure about Dreadful Crimes, but maybe I think World War I sequence is for higher level, no? Whatever, I'm not sure. But there are definitely quest missions that are for level 5 or something, so you can't really do them on when you are just level 1 and you barely started the game. So you need to find this perfect moment to do them. So maybe somewhere between sequence, I don't know, 4 and 6. The case of the conflicted courtship.
A tragedy in the park.
Another chance to sort out a diabolical conundrum. One that I'll turn into a one-a-penny read for Purlock Publishing.
Stabbed many times in a highly violent manner. Once indicate a left-handed attacker. That's interesting. Dr. Trevor Alton.
I should return and find out about this. I wonder if someone could tell me more about this.
Blood. And a knife. Standard kitchen knife. That's important as well, I suppose. I feel like the stories, they fit well the overall time period, but it feels sad that we didn't have such things in other Assassin's Creed games, or maybe just in other games, generally speaking. There are probably games where you investigate things, but it's not the case for Assassin's Creed, for example, or Red Dead Redemption 2. I'm not sure, I don't remember. But in Assassin's Creed Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla, I suppose there are no missions like that where you investigate things in this manner, which is sad. Yeah, of course they can implement such missions because we had newspapers back then. So I suppose, unless all these cases were invented.
How are you?
And in such case, yes, of course, they could have implemented it in other games as well.
There you go.
But
nice work.
it feels like it's great that we have some information from 200 years ago or something, so they can make these missions some interesting activities. But I suppose even though we didn't have any newspapers in ancient Greece and ancient Egypt, you still can implement one way or another investigating missions, because crime existed back then, and I suppose someone investigated something, maybe not in the same way, the same manner that we investigate in Assassin's Creed Syndicate, but these side activities, they are at least somehow interesting. You analyze clues and you need to think.
I don't know any of Dr. Alton's other patients.
Dear Miss Knight, I would ask you to please suspend Mr. Shelby's prescription. Right-handed man.
I'm sorry to hear about her murder. She was a patient here, but increasingly began to stop by socially. So she was meeting Dr. Alton in the park, was she? My understanding was that she was engaged to someone. In any case, the good doctor could do better, in my opinion. Perhaps now he will.
Prudence medical file. Grave anxiety concerning her recent engagement. This was not a medical concern, but nevertheless I prescribed a mild sedative. However, she has since embarked on an irregular relationship with someone I shall not name. This situation is intolerable. Dr. Alton seemed to have an affair with her. Since using this treatment, Mr. Shelby has overcome his paralyzing timidity with astonishing success. However, owing to the effects I've seen of the same drug on Mr. Baxter, I feel obliged to terminate Mr. Shelby's use altogether.
I wonder if someone could tell me more about this.
Doctor, I do hope that our professional relationship does not preclude closer rapport. Yours most sincerely, Miss Claire Knight. Professional. Baxter now appears to be totally reliant on the treatment. He consumes far more than the prescribed dosage and is constantly demanding more. In addition, he has become alarmingly aggressive, going so far as to assault me physically. Furthermore, he has recklessly seduced several women over the past few weeks.
I wonder if someone could tell me more about this.
That's interesting. Kachik.
Oh my God, Prudence! How horrible! I was about to propose. But I don't understand. She and I didn't have a meeting arranged today. It is true that we sometimes meet in the park, but there was no arrangement for this morning. That's very odd indeed. Prudence was a patient here, but wasn't given this prescription. There's no reason that she should be carrying such a packet. You appreciate, I'm sure, that I cannot discuss the condition of any of my patients. An unfortunate incident. One of my patients became overexcited.
Okay. So she had an affair with someone. Can it be her husband or something?
I'm quite angry, actually. I was having such terrific results. I felt like a new man. Much more vigorous and outgoing. But the doctor has ended the prescription altogether for no reason.
Mr. Baxter apparently attacked the doctor yesterday. It was after hours, but the doctor did have a cut on his cheek. Poor man. Dr. Alton makes house calls to see him. Baxter doesn't come into the office. I make up the prescriptions and he picks them up at noon when I'm away at lunch.
Okay, this information didn't give us anything interesting. We can visit another place. And another place is... I'm not sure what. Gilbert's house. Let's go over there. Who's Gilbert? And Dr. Alton said that he was about to propose.
Prudence and I are engaged to be married. I'm desperate to see her. She should be by any moment. She had something important to tell me. I'm worried she's going to break off the engagement. Prudence has been so distant lately. I believe she has a misplaced affection for her doctor, the cad. I would make a much more appropriate husband, and the wedding is planned.
Yeah, I see something's fishy. So he suspects her to have an affair with or as he calls the misplaced affection or whatever, to her doctor.
What the devil do you want? Away with you, or I shall have the servants thrash you.
Dearest Gilbert, I have something of the utmost importance to tell you. I shall call tomorrow at noon. Please, dear Gilbert, know that whatever I have to say, I will always hold you in the highest esteem. Your Prudence. The letterhead gives Prudence address. Prudence's. So she wanted to tell him the truth, right? But she didn't have enough time. And they say that I can continue my investigation. Maybe I need to visit Prudence's house again. No, not again. I haven't visited it. So apparently, she's her future husband suspected everything. No, not everything. He suspected that she had something with the doctor. And Prudence wanted to stop the marriage. To announce him that she's into doctor. The question is, can we blame her future husband? Can it be him or not? Dearest Trevor, must tell you that this evening something unsettling occurred. Dearest Trevor. So it's not Dr. Alton, it's Trevor. After our tete-a-tete in the park, I set off for home, all the while thinking of you. But suddenly a young woman appeared and began to berate me in the street, never ceasing to shout insults and shameful allegations involving someone named Baxter. Isn't that the patient you have had such trouble with? Oh my dear, I managed to slip away, but it was so terribly upsetting. But now I see that but now that's awful. But now I see that it is too late to post this, and I will see you tomorrow in any case, my love. Okay, so she clearly was into Dr. Alton. Prudence Diary. Several entries stand out. I hold Gilbert in the greatest esteem, but I simply cannot imagine marriage and all it entails. I have seen so little of the world. I have begun to see a doctor in an attempt to calm my nerves and concentrate my mind. Dr. Alton is kind and gentle, and the solicitous manner with which he listens is as beneficial as any medication. Oh, what a rapturous night. The timid Dr. Trevor Alton has surprising depths. We had a chance encounter in the park, whereupon he began to speak to me with such intensity and passion, I was quite swept up. Soon his ardent kisses took my breath away. Could it be that I have found love at last? And what then of my engagement to Gilbert? My feelings to Trevor, it seems so silly to call him Dr. Alton now, are so strong as ever, but mixed with concern. He has become moody, even tormented. He complains of his experimental treatment and of his patients. I have told him that I plan to break things off with Gilbert. Trevor and I are to meet in the park this morning. Is a proposal is in the offing? If he does propose, oh please let it be so. I shall go directly to Gilbert and break it off with him. A swift, sharp break is best for everyone. Yeah, that's true, I guess. Suppose.
I saw her kissing my man in the park, didn't I? I followed her to the street yesterday, but lost her. I'll come every day if need be, until I catch her again. That trollop better promise to let him alone, or I'll give her what for. He's all mine, I tell you. All the girls want a bit of Baxter, but they can't have him. You ask him yourself, he lives just that way. I saw her kissing my man in the park, didn't I? I followed her to the street yesterday, but lost her. I'll come every day if need be, until I catch her again. That trollop better promise to let him alone, or I'll give her what for.
I mean, yeah, we can probably suppose that it's her, we can blame her, but I somehow doubt it's her. Besides, she's speaking about Baxter? Whatever his name is. It feels weird. Baxter is that random crazy guy with that needs medicaments. He was not involved with her at all. He's just a patient. Scattered papers. I always get what I want. It is my due. Written by a left-handed man. It seems like Baxter killed her. She plans to break her engagement. Because of you. I won't have it. I shall marry her myself. At least that way she will remain a respectable woman. Written by a right-handed man. Huh? What? This is so weird. Baxter is that grand... Wait. Am I crazy? What is happening in this game? I didn't remember it being so messy. Man, I played this game, what, 2 years ago or something like that? 2 years ago it was... I mean, it's not like it was 20 years ago. She plans to break her engagement because of you. So her husband thinks that it's Baxter's fault? Baxter the crazy guy? Or Baxter is Dr. Alton? I don't understand it. She means nothing to you. You are a monster of my own making. Written by a right-handed man. Huh? Was it Doctor who sent these messages to Baxter? What? No, I lost the track of events, and because this is some insanity. You are nothing but a burden to me, a pathetic, sniveling burden. If only I could be rid of you. Written by a left-handed man. Many empty paper packets. They have a residue of powder on them.
I wonder if someone could tell me more about this.
Ooh, and knives. A lot of knives. Collection of kitchen knives identical to the one found on the crime scene. One is missing. Yeah, you see, there are 3 of them. That's interesting. This is some marry her myself or pathetic burden. What is happening here? I can extinguish your life, so I shall extinguish hers. Written by a left-handed man. There is a spot of blood on the note. It feels like Baxter killed her. Baxter seems to be a left-handed man, no? Wait, I think I found all the possible clues in this area, right? Yeah, 7 from 7. And she said, Evie said that, I wonder if someone can tell me more about that. So we can still speak with someone, but it seems like... Wait, what? Medicaments were driving Baxter crazy, and Dr. Alton saw that, so he decided to stop medicaments, but Baxter felt way better with those medicaments, even though he had some side effects. So he decided to kill. So at some point he discovered about Doctor's affair with Prudence, right? Or whatever her name is. And he decided to kill her because Dr. Alton stopped medicaments, because he cared about Baxter's kind of life side effects. Wait, what? Is that it? Or am I crazy?
That medicine was developed by Dr. Alton specifically for one of our patients, Mr. Shelby. But he's been using it for another patient as well.
Yeah, you see? Mr. Shelby. Yeah, I was thinking about this guy, but it's not Baxter. It's Mr. Shelby. Who's Baxter? What is happening in this game? Who's Baxter? Dr. Trevor Alton. I'm not sure what is going on in this game. And I forgot names. That's my problem. I can't remember all their names. It's Dr. Trevor Alton. I need to remember. Gilbert's house.
I've never heard of such a man.
What is going on here? They said press F1 to enter the investigation mode or something. Doctor, I hope that our professional relationship does not preclude a closer rapport. Yours most sincerely, Miss Clara Knight. This note, as well as all medical entries in the office, appears to be written by a right-handed man. Baxter is an alter ego of... You are nothing but a burden to me, a pathetic, sniveling burden. If only I could be rid of you, written by a left-handed man. She plans to break her engagement. Because of you, I want to have it. Yeah, it can be this guy. I think, if I remember correctly, but well, this is not what should I do. It's not something that we need to do in this situation. But let's explain why it kind of makes sense. Let's go to Dr. Alton's office, and there is an important piece of information. Okay, you might say that I cheat because I played. I remember a little bit certain things from the past, but I don't remember everything. But it seems like, based on what Clara Knight says,
that medicine was developed by Dr. Alton specifically for one of our patients, Mr. Shelby, but he's been using it for another patient as well.
You see, she says it was developed for Mr. Shelby, but it is used by another patient. Who is that patient? Why she's not mentioning that patient? Treatment.
I'm quite angry, actually. I was having such terrific results. I felt like a new man. Much more vigorous and outgoing. But the doctor has ended the prescription altogether for no reason.
You see, he says, I felt like a new man. So it almost feels like he was in some kind of a weird state where it wasn't like he forgot everything what happened in the past, all the, I don't know, problems, health problems and stuff. Almost like he had an alter ego, huh? And another patient. Who that patient might be? We have several women. That woman that was Baxter. She said that she was trying to, Prudence was trying to steal my Baxter. I followed her, but I lost her. And we also have some clues about an elusive man. You see, Baxter, Lulu. Cut cheek indicates that the cut on his cheek was due to one of his patients. Does not elaborate. Mr. Shelby claims that he was making remarkable progress. And why, if he had such a progress, Dr. Alton decided to end the treatment if it really helped him? So there were some kind of consequences, right? Dr. Alton knew that. Gilbert Higgins, Prudence's fiancé, suspects that Prudence is attracted, and he claims to have never heard of Baxter, which is probably makes sense. And she said something interesting. She said that, I think it's Claire that said that. Seems to think a romance with the doctor may now be possible for herself. From an altercation with Baxter, although she did not witness this. But who's Baxter? This then, as they said, the elusive man. States that the medicine found in the park was... No, that's not what I was looking for. But there is something interesting about... doing something with several women. But I'm not sure who said that. Claims that Baxter is her lover. States that the other women are after him. You see? This is something interesting. And no one knows about Baxter, you see? Except for this woman. She says that Baxter is her lover. But all other people don't know Baxter. This guy doesn't know Baxter. She only knows Baxter because, you see, Doctor only sees Baxter only on house calls. Trevor Alton doesn't say anything about Baxter and indicates that the cut on his cheek was due to one of his patients. Does not elaborate. And apparently this patient is himself.
Oh God, it's true. I couldn't help myself. The powder unleashed a creature within me. He seduced the innocent Prudence and then killed her to prevent us from marrying. It's too horrible.
I knew something was amiss with the medical powder, but didn't understand until you found those papers. Well done.
Up to the cliff with you.
It's some insanity. If it really happened, I mean, I just don't know what to say. The case of the conflicted courtship. Dr. Trevor Alton's experimental medication seemed to be so successful on one of his patients that he tried it himself and created a monster. Going under the name of Baxter, this second drug-altered personality lived a wild, scandalous life, seducing women as he went. The unsuspecting Prudence Brownie, believing him to be Dr. Alton, fell in love with the passionate Baxter. Meanwhile, Baxter continued his seductions, which included the possessive Lulu, who later followed Prudence, planning to threaten her. Horrified by Baxter's actions, Dr. Alton resolved to marry Prudence in order to save her reputation. Baxter, however, would not have his freedom curtailed in any way, and arranged to meet Miss Brownie in the park, where he viciously murdered her. A crime for which Dr. Alton will pay the price. Henry Raymond. That is crazy. He developed some kind of a medicine that altered your personality. That's just crazy. The Fiend of Fleet Street. That's crazy. It's crazy. I need a carriage, but no carriages around.
Easy, girl.
The Fiend of Fleet Street. Solve the case of the missing Detective Murphy.
Ah, this is one that's most promising.
An important detective is missing. Skullduggery is surely afoot.
Solve it, and I'll write it up quick as you please.
Walk on, stupid nag. Yeah.
I made only 4. Wait out. I need to look. Need to check. There are 10. Why everything is in French? Leave me alone. Right, so there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 cases. I suppose I will... Wait. A simple matter of murder. The dreadful crimes. The Fiend of Fleet Street. This is the 4th one. I can maybe make this one and the mystery of the twice dead professor. It will be the next one apparently. And then 5 other dreadful crimes missions I will make in the next part.
He's a friend of mine. The whole station is out looking for him as we speak. Ironically, he came here on an investigation himself. Seems several people have gone missing in this part of town. We've had reports of missing people over the last few months. Detective Murphy is just the most recent and the only one who's anybody to speak of.
I saw him going into the barber shop when I was on my way to work. In this kind of neighborhood, people come and go.
I should return and find out about this.
An odd man indeed. He spent a fair amount of time in here, poking around. George delivers that to us. It's amazing. The flowers just grow and grow. Some people around town just seem to vanish. It is mysterious. Sweet boy. Constantly giving my assistant gifts, a jacket, a handbag, and so on.
George is my sweetheart. I think he plans to propose marriage soon. Maybe even today.
Good old Detective Murphy. Must be about someplace. He's probably got my eye to run off somewhere.
Bills paid several from George for meat delivery. It seems Mrs. Moffat pays promptly and gets a good deal from George.
He was in here asking about missing people. Bought a meat pie, he did. Stayed and chatted for a few minutes, then headed off to the barber. I'm told that some people have gone missing, but I don't know anything about it.
Crate of meat with no label. The meat smells a little
That's
odd.
unusual.
George delivers meat for my pies. Lovely lad. I pay on delivery. I believe he picks it up from the local butcher shop. How about some tripe?
You mean the annoying bloke nosing around? I told him to sod off. I pride myself on the quality of the beef I sell. Somebody selling cheap around here, though, my sales have dropped off. George? I don't know any George.
That's interesting. Where's the dead body? That's weird.
He came in asking lots of questions. I believe I answered them to his satisfaction. I suppose there are a few people I haven't seen in a while. Why would you want to know about him? Stupid boy. He does deliver tan leather on occasion, but I really have very little to do with him.
Diamond shell shaped hole in it. It's interesting. Collection of sharp knives and strong, thick needles. Also several awls, some of which would be used to punch distinctively shaped holes.
Yeah, I gave him a trim. He asked no-ending questions. When I cut his hair, I notices a tattoo right at the base of his neck. A green Celtic cross it was. You're right. Several people have disappeared over the past months. Some of them were customers of mine. George was in here earlier, getting an haircut. He wanted to look nice for his girl. He's been seeing Joanna from the flower shop for some time now. Said he's finally saved up enough money to pop a question.
Several drops of blood. Someone has stepped in it, leaving a trail.
Well now, I didn't ask about this.
I'm trying to quit drinking. Sometimes my hand shakes when I'm given a shave.
Let's see, let's follow the trail. Footprints.
Relax, mate.
George's house. I'm still not sure who's George. We didn't find George. A list of pickups and drop-offs. The pickups are mysterious. The drop-offs are mint delivered to bakery, manure to florist, leather to Tobias, leather delivered to leather worker. The totals show a thriving business, but the supplier gets most of the money. Who's the supplier? Ooh, look at that. George. I suppose that's George. George's house, George's body. George is very recently dead. His chest has a puncture wound, diamond-shaped hole. That's pretty suspicious. A diary entry indicating that George is becoming increasingly suspicious concerning his deliveries. Now that I have enough set aside to propose to Gianna, I have written to a detective about my suspicions regarding the true source of the products I deliver. Where do you even take them? Kinda want to accuse that leather worker, but that would be too obvious, right? Right? Or wrong?
George, I hoped he'd stop by. I want to see his new haircut. He must be at his house. Oh, I do hope he proposes soon.
Oh no, no. Well, it definitely can be her. It can be those guys. That meat guy. The butcher. It's definitely not him. I don't know, it seems like it's this leather guy. Well, if I'm wrong, I beg your pardon.
He was coming too close to figuring out where all those people went. They got parceled out to the baker, the florist, and me.
You very cleverly puzzled that one out. A very unpleasant crime. Perfect for one of Mr. Raymond's penny dreadfuls.
They said that meat smelled odd. The Fiend of Fleet Street. Even a detective can run adrift when a nefarious business is afoot. Was Detective Murphy getting too close to a secret source of raw goods? Raw goods, okay. A leather worker was in the habit of doing away with local folk, flaying them and then chopping them up. He had the skin tanned for leather, the bones ground up to sell as manure, and the bloody flesh sold to supply pie shops with cheap meat. Wow. Wow. All delivered by the unwitting Carter charge. Thus did the Fiend make macabre pleasure in seeing his victims happily consumed by the citizens of Fleet Street. Henry Raymond. I don't know what to say. Just what kind of psycho, right? Oh, we have another Dreadful Crimes. What was the next one? And why do we have two of them unlocked? The next one is The Mystery of the Twice Dead Professor. This is one. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to think. Well, we shouldn't be surprised that there are all kind of psychos in the world. Killing people, chopping them.
Here now.
I think at this point I'm not surprised at just anything. It wouldn't even surprise me if this story is real story. Honestly, sometimes we watch TV shows or we play video games.
That's it.
And we're like, well,
Easy.
well, this is some insanity. But then you're like, well, it's a video game, right? It's nothing, no big deal. But in reality, far crazier things happen in real life. And that's definitely true. Somehow, craziest stories do not happen in video games or somewhere else. Craziest stories happen in real life. People are so messy, it's crazy. You know what? I'll ask ChatGPT whether Dreadful Crime missions are based on real life stories or not. Where is our mission over there? ChatGPT says that they are fictional. The Dreadful Crime side missions in the Assassin's Creed Syndicate game are fictional, but they are inspired by real-life criminal cases and Victorian-era detective stories. However, the specific cases However, the specific cases and characters in the missions are not direct retellings of real events, but rather creative interpretations designed to fit within the game's narratives and historical setting. Even though it's the stories are kind of imaginary stories, as I said, it wouldn't surprise me if we had something pretty similar in real London back then. I'll start the mission and I'll try to find some stories like that. Maybe ChatGPT will find for me. People are, because I've seen some stories like that. I like to watch different criminal investigations and stuff, or true crime stuff, and it's true that I have seen a lot of weird situations happen in real world. So even though the stories are imaginary, honestly, they're not far from what happens in the real world. Solve the mystery of the professor who once buried returned to die in his parlor.
Here's an especially exciting one. Perfect for a penny dreadful.
A famous professor dies twice.
That's once more than usual. Twice as many sales. My name will soon be known across the nation.
You know what's interesting? I ask whether there are stories like that, similar stories to what we see in this kind of DLC like or mission pack or whatever that is. And ChatGPT tells me there are a bunch of stories like that. For example, the Red Cliff Highway murders in 1811. There is the Bermondsey Horror in 1849. Obviously, there is the Jack the Ripper in 1888. There is the Rothill House murder in 1860. There is the Cleveland Street scandal in 1889. And probably these are only a very few stories that ChatGPT showed me. I'm sure if we really dig deep enough, maybe we can go to some kind of a library and find some newspapers from back then with criminal cases and investigations and stuff. The body shows evidence of having been in a terrible struggle. There is a deep cut to the forehead that appears to be surgical. The cut goes into the skull itself.
It's so very awful. The professor died of an heart attack just days ago. Then tonight, I hear pounding at the door. I open it to find him bleeding and in pain. I tried to say something, then collapsed dead. Again. He kept repeating, Barkesso, Barkesso, over and over. What does it mean?
Barkesso?
It's unthinkable. Such a great man. We were still in mourning from the burial. He was buried yesterday in the family plot.
What is that location? Cemetery. An intricately carved sculpture, evidently of African origin. There is a small recess where something could have been hidden.
I should go back and ask about this.
A large, distinctive spider, curled up in death. Spider, that's interesting, huh? My dear, I don't know how to pronounce this. Is it Bing? 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 I can certainly... Bing? How is that even supposed to be pronounced? I can certainly amend your will to discourage the marriage of your son with the young lady in question. An annual allowance that will be suspended in the event of such a marriage should serve the purpose. If, as you suspect, she is driven by love of money, such a provision should considerably dampen her ardor for your son.
I should return and find out about this.
Letter from colleague. Esteemed Prof. Bing, my research trip has been a great success. I have been able to verify personally several of the unusual customs that you chronicled in your brilliant book. Once again, I am humbled by your genius. Prof. Silas.
Now that I've
Silas?
seen this, I should ask more questions.
I missed one clue somewhere. My dearest love, I did not understand your father's antipathy towards me. I fear that he will take steps to disrupt our engagement. Please obtain his assurance that no matter if you marry me or not, he will render you your due when the time comes. Okay. That sounds pretty suspicious. She's definitely into his money.
My father was an eminent anthropologist and something of an explorer. He made his name by investigating the practices of a small village in the Congo. His colleagues at the university often sent him trinkets from abroad. This is no time to talk about the will. It is true that my father and my fiancée didn't get on, but I'm confident that once he got to know her as a daughter-in-law, they would have become friends.
He got that a few days ago. Inside was a statue. I thought it was a marvel, but he told me it was quite common. I don't know who sent it.
I don't know.
Spider? Let's get that out of here. Emmett is definitely afraid of spiders.
Weird things are happening in this city. Cemetery is kind of far. Is it the same cemetery? No, wait. It was not cemetery. It was a park in the previous mission.
A lovely man, and quite wealthy. I only wish he had lived to bless my alliance with his son. I'm sorry to hear about that. Do you know whether that change was actually made?
Oh man. Gold diggers everywhere. A suspiciously nondescript receipt for £7. A lace handkerchief with red embroidery.
I hoped you wouldn't find that. I'm afraid several of the faculty purchase cadavers for research purposes. It's a fact of university life.
On the topic of an unusual Bolivian spider. Prof. Wilson. One passage notes that the venom produces a state resembling death, and that some Indian tribes use the venom during a rite of passage in which initiate boys experience a symbolic death lasting 2 or 3 days. That's interesting.
I wonder if someone could tell me more about this.
An eminent colleague. He wrote prolifically. Probably no one will ever amass the amount of knowledge he acquired.
An illustration of a spider resembling the dead spider found in the Bing home. A note describes it as a rare spider found in Bolivia, whose venom is a strong tranquilizer. Huh.
My thesis subject. My South American colleagues tell me that this particular arachnid is only found in the Bolivian Andes. Fascinating subject.
That's interesting. An empty box labeled Arachnid Arpadectus.
I should go back and ask about this.
This guy is pretty suspicious.
I'm most vexed about that. A rare specimen of the sort I've been studying for years. It escaped a few days ago, no doubt due to that scatterbrained assistant Virginia.
Is there any way she tried to kill the father to get the money from the son?
The anthropological sciences have lost a great mind. He revolutionized the field. It is my fond hope that I may inherit his mantle. The anthropological sciences have lost a great mind. He revolutionized the field. It is my fond hope that I may inherit his mantle. I recently traveled to Africa in order to continue studies on the indigenous tribe Professor Bing discovered some time ago.
Pedestal with nothing on it. However, on the descriptive label is written Bagesa tribal mask, a jackal. The intriguing customs of deepest Africa. An entire chapter is torn from it.
I should return and find out about this.
A well-stocked library of anthropological books. A significant number of them are by Prof. Bing, all well thumbed.
Which one is that? Sorry, difficult to read. I've lost my spectacles somewhere.
It's like so many suspicious people. It's crazy. They're doing it on purpose, so we cannot find who's the guilty one. I mean, killing someone's father just because he's against your marriage? Can we really blame that girl? I'm not sure. Somehow doubt that, but who knows? Who knows? Sometimes here's the sum agreed upon for last night's transaction. What kind of transaction? £7 sterling.
I should go back and ask about this.
The lock is broken, the door is ajar, proof Bing's casket
I
is
wonder what
empty.
the other suspects will say to this.
A lace handkerchief with red embroidery.
He showed up again. First time that's happened in 35 years of grave digging. I saw the son lock the tomb myself. It's plain that 7 guineas is a lot for a bloke like me. I'm careful with me pennies and save for a rainy day. Body snatching? That's an insult. I'd be in the slammer quick as that if I got caught. So I sell a body or two on the side. A man's got to eat, ain't he? I broke the lock and left him on a barrow just behind his tomb. It was dark, couldn't really see. But some fella come by and carted the old professor off. It's muddy back there. You can likely still see the tracks.
There's nothing left here. What a weird situation. A single page torn from a book on the Begassa tribe. It describes ceremonial rituals involving sacred mask, incense, and chanting. Wow. Small pile of cold ashes giving off a perfumed odor. Wooden carved mask of a jackal. An entire chapter ripped from Bing's book, The Intriguing Customs of Deepest Africa. The chapter describes an ancient custom whereby members of the Begassa tribe ceremonially ingest the living brains of respected elders in order to obtain the knowledge of that elder. Ooh. 5 from 6 clues. There's one more clue somewhere. But where? Okay. Standard eyeglasses broken into spectacles. Well. Based on what we found, we can assume that I'll continue the investigation, but it's kind of pointless. Because I mean, it's pointless to go to the cemetery, right?
Go on. Whoa!
We found all the clues in the abandoned house. We can try to revisit the cemetery, but I don't think that's the place that we need to visit. We found everything in the cemetery. Correct me if I'm wrong. And we see 4 from 4. Now, purely based on what we have so far, it seems like
Slow down.
it seems like one of Dr. Bing's colleagues decided to kill him, send a spider that will kill him, and take his brain or something. Sounds pretty stupid.
Yes, that's mine. I misplaced a similar one, possibly at the funeral. I was so upset.
You have everything to solve the mystery and make an accusation. He lost his glasses. Where is that guy? He lost his glasses. He knew him very well. Look at that.
The anthropological sciences have lost a great mind. He revolutionized the field. It is my fond hope that I may inherit his mantle.
The first indication.
Which one is that? Sorry, difficult to read. I've lost my spectacles somewhere.
The second clue. So I suppose it's him. And we'll have an explanation later.
I required his knowledge in order to become the greatest anthropologist in the British Empire. And his beloved tribe of savages provided the method.
Tribe of savages.
That
Okay.
Professor Silas was particularly cunning and gruesome. Mr. Raymond will be thrilled.
The mystery of the twice dead professor. The esteemed Professor Bing was the victim of a diabolical plot confected by his colleague and erstwhile acolyte, Professor Silas. Using a powerful spider venom, Silas put his mentor into a deep coma. He went so far as to attempt to eat Bing's brains in an effort to ingest his knowledge. All this was inspired by the very African tribe Professor Bing had himself discovered. No doubt Silas's mind was unbalanced, as he believed he would surpass all anthropologists by absorbing his mentor's cerebrum. Rest in peace, Professor Bing. The Royal Anthropological Society mourns your passing, Henry Raymond. Yeah, it definitely feels weird. It also feels weird because the second man was a professor himself as well. And even though the story is imaginary, it still kind of shows this interesting situation, because I have watched a bunch of documentaries about such, criminal cases and stuff, and I have seen something similar. I'm not sure which one exactly, because I've watched a bunch of them, a bunch of episodes in different TV shows. But like, the fact that you're a professor in university doesn't mean anything. You can be a professor in university and still believe in weird things. Humans are very weird, you see. The fact that you haven't a university diploma, no matter what you studied, but you might study something for 3 or 5 years or 7 years, it doesn't indicate that you are mentally sane and that you understand everything logically, see. There are definitely similar situations that happen every day in our world. It's just they are not all published, but every single day there's a murder somewhere in the world. I'm sure about it. And sometimes even dozens of murders. I'm not even speaking about wars, but about, some criminal cases. And it's just, it kind of shows the this pattern of knowledge and wisdom. You can have knowledge, but it doesn't mean that you're a wise person. And this is something that I personally verified. in 2022. In after the after the start of the war in Ukraine, I had an opportunity to speak with I can say a lot of Russians in different language speaking apps, and some of those people were supporting the invasion while they were young. They were somewhere around maybe 20, 22, 23, 24, something like that. And they studied in universities. And it's a very kind of interesting situation. And for me, it just proved that yet another time that the fact that you're studying in the university doesn't mean anything. You can study in the university, but it doesn't mean that you are a wise person, you see. And there is a difference between wisdom and intelligence. Intelligence are just something that you can accumulate. Doesn't mean, it sounds weird. It's something that you can gather as information. It's something that you can read books, you can read newspapers, you can watch maybe TV shows or documentaries or something like that. This is intelligence. Intelligence is basically knowledge that you can gather by doing some actions. But the fact that you gather that knowledge doesn't mean that you will become wise. You are just gathering information from different sources about certain specific things. You can be you can know a lot about nature, or you can know a lot about I don't know, biology or chemistry or crime or something like that, but it doesn't mean, or religion, but it doesn't mean that you're actually wise. Wisdom is more important than intelligence. You can be not intelligent. You might not know a lot of things, but you will understand. It's funny, they see me, you see, they look at me while I'm sitting invisible.
I'll be making a move then.
Which is weird. You can gather that knowledge, but that knowledge is completely pointless. Wisdom is the only important thing, because, well, it's great that you know something about biology or chemistry or mathematics, programming languages, or you speak 5 different languages or 10 different languages, or you're good at something, you know how to paint or play music. Because in the end, those things are probably not going to help you be a decent human being and live a normal life. Wisdom is way more important, you see, and clearly this professor was not wise if, while being a professor, while studying a lot of different things, he believed in some kind of rituals from African tribes. How can eating brain can make you gain knowledge of someone? It just doesn't make any sense, right? It sounds pretty ridiculous. And the same goes for the example that I gave you about the war, for example. Clearly, any adequate human being understands that war is not a solution, no matter who and who tells what. There is no justification to start a war and kill people from other nation and from your own nation, because people will die for some absolutely imaginary cause of protecting our borders or whatever. Someone is trying to attack us, whatever. It's a complete nonsense, right? Yet, as I said, I have spoken with quite some people that studied in universities, that studied foreign languages, yet they believed that what Putin did in 2022 was the right decision, and they supported his decision. So those people, they might be intelligent because they study in universities and they gather some particular information about their very specific field. But just because you're intelligent doesn't mean that you're wise. Being wise is way more important than being intelligent. Anyone can be intelligent in something. You just need to read. Being wise is way more important, and actually not a lot of people are wise in our world. Unfortunately, that's sad, maybe, but that's the truth. And clearly this professor was pretty weird. Well, I'll stop here, ladies and gentlemen. I finished 5 dreadful crimes from 10, and I'll try to finish them in the next part. That's it for now.